Oh boy, my friends, it's been a while since we've done one of these. We're going to do a computer repair video, which is unusual for me, I suppose, because we don't usually do those now. We usually complain about dumb things on the internet. But this is a Toshiba satellite L755D. You can probably see the model number right there. Part of the reason that I am making this video is that one of the people I do video production and whatnot with, you know, these movie shoots that I've been doing on feature films with professionals. Yeah, one of the guys bought a full-frame Panasonic camera, the full-frame equivalent roughly to the GH5S that I've been shooting on that everyone compliments so much. I'm skeptical of full-frame cameras in general, so what we're going to do is see how this full-frame camera with kit lens performs. Now, in all fairness, it's a kit lens. It does not have a very wide aperture, so I have had to crank up the settings a bit. I don't have access to a better lens. Oh, this might be easier than I thought. So the problem with this computer is mainly that this Wi-Fi card is shot. It is showing 2.4 gigahertz networks, but half of them are missing. So I know that card is shot. Also, I don't know how long it's been since this computer's been serviced internally in any way. The right hinge mount here is breaking apart. We're gonna use some of this JB Weld plastic bonder because all my Loctite plastic bonding epoxy dried up. So I'm kind of screwed in that regard. But anyway, let's... Wow, there's a big truck outside. I'll filter that out later. Let's check the CMOS battery. Now, some people are smart and they'll check their CMOS battery by taking a voltmeter to it and seeing what the voltage is. But I take it to my voltmeter right here in my mouth, and oh yeah, that tingles. So that battery does not need replacement. So we'll put it back. It's probably already been replaced. While we're in here, let's just, we're not going to do a whole lot, but let's go ahead and we'll push these little fingers out to get the RAM out and reseat it. Because a common problem with older computers is that these memory sticks, they make bad contact here. And that bad contact over time, when the contact degrades over time, rather, you can end up with just a black screen when you turn the computer on. So that saves us from ever having to do that again. Let's take this Wi-Fi card out. My phones are not set to silent or anything, so you may hear a lot of noise. This Wi-Fi card, I pretty much know it's defective because of the way it's behaving, so it gets to go live over there. If you hear blazing saddles, it is only because that's my work phone. So blazing saddles means somebody is trying to reach me. So we have to take this thing pretty far apart. I don't actually know if the board has to come out yet, so I probably shouldn't be ripping cables off yet. But and it's been a very long time since I worked on one of these Toshiba. This computer, just to give you an idea, this is a Windows 7 sticker. This computer came with Windows 7. I sold this to a customer somewhere between 12 and 15 years ago. I think it's a second generation Core i series, which would date it to about 2011 or 2012. Ooh, that's stuck. The CD drive is held in with this screw here, which, since this has a kit lens, it is a zoom lens, so I can show you. Yeah, there's a screw here, but the drive is stuck. So what do? Well, I could use a screwdriver like I used to try and shove it out, but nowadays I use these clay modeling kit tools from eBay. I call them pry tools. Some people call them spudgers, but they're marketed as clay modeling tools, and I really only use this one with this sort of round end. It's soft metal. I don't like plastic pry tools. I understand why they exist, but I use metal ones quite a bit, in fact. And that, why is this so sticky? Okay. That could be because of the hinge mount issue. Oh my god. Ew. There's tape. Why is there tape? We'll find out when we get deeper into it. I can already see this looks kind of... yeah, that scraped a good bit coming out. So what... I probably won't find anything. Anyway, I'm filming this, this is sort of for my own reference, but also for any of you that are curious. I'm filming this at 6K 30 frames a second on a Panasonic S5 IIX, a full-frame mirrorless Panasonic camera. Oh, those mounts are bad, bad, bad. Actually, let me... I want to change some of these settings just a bit because I think it's a little unfair to the camera to have them set where they are. Yeah, okay. Yeah. The autofocus is very fast, but unfortunately it's also autofocus. On my shoots, I will usually lock focus. I learned a long time ago the best thing to do tends to be to lock focus. So that's what I usually do. In this case, I'm not. Partly because I like to see later how the autofocus performs. Let's see. I'm recording 6K, 30 frames a second, 1/50th of a second shutter. Started at f5.6 and now we're at f4. So those are the camera settings in use. ISO 200. It was 400 at the start. And it will be very interesting to me, as a guy who started out with computers and moved into video, and has been doing pro video for years now, to see how this camera performs, because this camera basically is the kind of thing that me as a GH5S owner, where the GH5S was the pinnacle of what I liked in, or what I wanted in a video camera that's not a camcorder anyway. This is the full frame equivalent, and full frame everybody says is so much better than Micro Four Thirds. And I don't know if that's true or not, so I thought the best way to test would be to film at the highest possible quality, well, resolution, and see what happens. I think this mount is also ruptured. This may be a bit of a trend with this computer. It is very old at this point. And Toshiba, I used to love Toshiba and recommend them to everybody. And only later did I realize that they tend to do a lot of plasticky, not the best designs in some places. Particularly hinge mounts on some Toshibas tend to go kind of bad. But to be fair, if you go back through the computer repair videos on my YouTube channel, you will find no shortage of computer repair videos where I'm fixing hinge mounts on not any Toshiba laptops. Also, there are some Toshibas that I fixed on here before. So let's see, did we get all the screws? I missed this one. Yeah. Anywho, even though this is a very old laptop by today's standards, the general process is the same. You get all the screws out of the bottom. You take these doors off to make sure there are none hiding under them. Thank God Toshiba is one of the ones that does not hide everything under a bunch of doors. Yeah, that one, the mount's broken. There are a couple of screws that won't come out due to broken mounts. Something just fell out of the computer. That's plastic. In fact, there are quite a few pieces of plastic that just came out of the computer. Okay. By the way, this is the customer info. That's why it's hidden. No one cares about Windows 7 serial numbers, which is why it's not. You can activate computers for free these days using a tool called MAS-AIO, MAS_AIO. So I don't really care about serial numbers anymore. You can just go get free activations and no one cares. Microsoft's license server will literally hand out an activation key to your computer if you just ask them to do so. The website for that tool is massgrave.dev. There is still a screw somewhere down here. Where is it? Oh, I found it. Okay. There is a screw right here in the battery bay that is holding the strip above the keyboard down. Toshiba loves their little strips above the keyboard. Okay, let's try that again. What do you say? Like I said, this right hinge mount is busted here, so not a good day in that regard. Okay, let me get a drink real quick. Okay, we need to get the keyboard out. Ooh, backspace looks a little off. We are going to not mess with that in the hopes that we don't break it. Because if we break backspace, it's not going to be a good day. Also, for my own reference, I am using my Paulson side address microphone over here, and my Pyle Pad Tim-XU mixer. Let's see. And yes, I'm wearing a Halloween shirt. I like this shirt. I have two of them, actually. I do like the Halloween series in general. So, I kind of wish that more people did. I know it's a classic, but there are a lot of people who don't appreciate it. They think it's too slow. I think that it's perfect for a movie, one of the first slasher movies about a stalker. Obviously, most of the movie you never get to see the bad guy because he's stalking the girls. You know, he stalks and kills people. And a lot of the movie is false starts until suddenly someone dies, and it makes that first death in the movie so much more profound. By the way, the reason that I'm taking this all apart is not just the hinge mount. Because this is such an old computer, and I know for a fact, because we are the only ones who've ever serviced it, that it has never been taken all the way apart and cleaned or anything, that it probably needs heatsink paste. It definitely needs some of these mounts to be glued back together. So we're taking it all apart to service it. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you do when a computer gets really old. And this is definitely a really, really old computer. I am probably, for the sake of brevity, going to stop chattering for a moment. So that, you know what, there's just not enough screws actually to stop. I was going to stop the video and start it again, but I changed my mind. Let's see here. Like I said, right now today it's an active open office, so, and I have no help, so customers may come in, and if they do, I will stop the video and I will get back to this. But as you can see, most of the process is getting screws out of things. Lots and lots and lots and lots of screws so that you can access other things. Stopwatch just went off over there. I don't remember. Look at this tape. This tape is so old. Look at how old this tape is. And it doesn't want to come up. See, I don't remember exactly what you do and don't have to take out here to get this top off. So I'm going to flip up. Here, let me give you a better view of what's going on down here. Let me give you a better view than that. There we go. ISO 640. We're really getting up there, lads. So this flip lock connector, I don't know what it goes to. I assume the power button, but I don't know. This right here is probably, yeah, see, that's why I lock focus. Let's lock the focus. This is ridiculous. This is the speaker connector. Put even pressure on both sides and slide it out. Probably would be better if I did it with a pry tool. Got to wiggle this one. It's been in there for 14 years. This one here is your touchpad. See, it says MB for motherboard. That part goes to the motherboard. This is your display cable. I'm actually a little sketchy about taking this one out, but we'll do it anyway. It can't hurt to reseat these things unless they're brittle, and reseating them will destroy them. So I do get a little worried about taking these things apart. However, yeah, that's actually stuck down to the, oh, you can't really see that, can you? There you go. That's like adhesived down to the CPU fan. Anyway, I don't think we had to take that off, but it's off, so they'll get over it. Now, what do? We need to get this top plate, this whole assembly here, too bright. This whole assembly needs to come off. I can get my fingers in right here above where the CD drive used to be. I don't even need a pry tool. I've got fingernails. And I can just, if you can see that, get in there with my fingernails and just lift up gently, and the whole thing, probably in part because a bunch of these anchors are destroyed, is coming up. Now, there is one here that is not coming up. Let's address that. This screw right here did not come out, and I have a bad feeling it won't come out. Wait a second. Am I wrong? No, wait a minute. That one did come out, did it? Huh. I must be thinking of a different one. This one didn't come out. This one definitely didn't come out. This one didn't come out either. And they're still not coming out. So, check this out. All right. Get you a nice wide view of that. It's a little blurry, but deal with it. So it won't come out. This anchor's stuck and it won't come out. So I'll put pressure on it like this, and I'll try unscrewing it with pressure put on it, which may separate the screw and its broken anchor. Ah, there it goes. Holy crap. Wow. That was one hell of a drop, man. Okay. Wow. Okay, hang on. All right. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, okay. Take it and gently let things fall out of it. Some of them won't matter, but some of them will. Maybe. That's a lot of plastic. There's a lot of brittle plastic. At 14 years, plastic tends to get brittle over time. There's 14 years of random plastic stuff breaking in here. So, and I can't really say that I'm all that surprised. So let's get back in. I keep having to put my hand in here to hold the hinge area because now it's really lifting up bad. It would be ideal. Okay, this does lift off. We can see we didn't actually have to take this off. It is the power button board, as I suspected. There's your button. But we can see we didn't actually have to take that off, and the display cable also was not necessary to take off to get the board, or to get this particular plate off. However, I had to turn off the fan, so it's actually getting very hot in here, and I don't like it. It would be ideal if we could get this out for now, but if you look down here, let's see. Get it brighter so you can see it. It might be a bit much. Okay. See down here? See that? That's not supposed to do that. It's completely gone. Like, the whole thing is just gone. So, I would love it if I could take the display off, but I don't think I can. Now, the hinge over here appears to be intact, but I do see a little bit of flexing. There is a screw there that is definitely loose. And you'll notice, too, that the hinge is not quite as simple as it's made out to be. Down here, you can actually see, oh, I hit the focus ring, you can see that the hinge screws down through this metal plate. So it doesn't quite work the way that it looks at first. This hinge goes through and that anchor is shot. So let's just tighten it back up. Let's make sure all the screws are tight. What I'm going to do is just epoxy this whole section of the hinge. I'm going to tighten the screws and we're going to epoxy everything back together. There's that corner screw. It completely ripped out of the socket. That's great. That's really, really great. And then we've got this one over here. I'm going to just tighten. I don't think this corner, these things haven't ripped out. The only reason this computer is still pretty much intact is because this hasn't ripped out. And I think this might not have completely ripped out at the time. Here, I'm going to just tighten this back up. Crud, something fell out. What fell out? Oh, more plastic. I don't care. Okay, so see if autofocus can do anything with this. So, yeah. See that? That's unpleasant. Let's see if we can at least get that screw to come out. So I'm going to hold this anchor, this brass ring, and I'm going to unscrew the screw if I can. I don't know if I can, actually. I don't even know if it's getting it there. You can see that, right? Yeah, so it's definitely turning it, but it might be turning it between my fingers. Oh, there. Oh, no, wait. We're getting it. We're getting it. We're getting it. Okay, we're good. And that plastic's going to fall off. That screw is going to come with it. Let's get that. We might need that to repair this, so let's shake it all out. There it is. There it is. Look at that. See that? That's a screw. This thing actually has pretty good macro focus. That ring was part of the bottom plastics, and we probably will need to epoxy that back together so that the bottom plastics can hold it. Now, here is a nasty close-up of what that section there, and hang on, I'm using my monitor to try and get it to where you can see a little better, but that's what that looks like. That is very much ripped apart. You can see just how bad all those brass rings, the plastic that they were in, crumbled. A lot of those pieces, those little pegs, may have been things that came up through the hinge. So, I don't see the other... Oh, there's a random screw right here. Where did that come from? I guess we'll find out later. So we need to rebuild this hinge, because that's pretty rough. And there's a mount right here that is not in good shape at all. Let's set the ISO to auto. Maybe the camera can do a better job than me at trying to wrangle this nonsense. Or maybe not. Actually, that's kind of depressing. I don't like this. Come on, give me... Like I said, new camera. Oh, heaven. What in the hell, dude? What the hell are you doing? So anyway, I don't like the way some of this new camera works. Alright, we'll do a +1 so you can see better. I'm about to hit the record limit, so I'm going to restart. Okay, we're back. Across the restart. We're taking this... We're taking this flip-lock connector here up. So this daughter board is disconnected from the motherboard. We already got the hard drive out, so we don't have to remove that. We are going to take this board out and check everything. So this is going to end up being a full disassembly. There is a screw right here. Let's get that autofocus turned back off. What do you say? So that you don't have that weird winking. There's a screw right here, holding the board down. Okay. Now, we have an additional problem. There's another screw here in the middle holding it down, but we have an additional problem. We can take these screws out that are obviously holding it down. There's one here holding the fan down. It's in the hinge area, so we'll get that. You can see the black tab from the fan hanging over. That is actually a metal looking screw instead of a black one, so we still can't get it out because of this anchor situation here. So we've got an anchor here, and the screw was not turning because the anchor broke loose. So let's remove it the same way. Alright, and there we have the screw in the ring. You can't see it, but that's okay. And that went through there at the front. So now this motherboard will eventually lift up. This tape that covers the hard drive section for some reason is preventing it. So let's get this going. Let me get this light over here just a bit. Ooh, that made it a lot brighter. Holy crap. Can I just maybe get it up here? I don't know. It's a bit too spotlight for me, frankly. But, yeah, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we just let the things lie the way they are. Okay. So this daughter board wire is overlapping this tape, so I'm going to just pull it back. Okay. Now, you remember that jack I didn't detach earlier? Right here. I'm going to just pull that back up so the board can lift out. Okay, let's lift you out. Okay, there's that wire I didn't strictly have to take off. And there we go. We have a motherboard. We have all the goods, and here's the motherboard. So, while we're down here, the main thing that I want to do is get this heatsink assembly off and put new thermal paste and reseat the processor. Actually, if you would like to see a somewhat zoomed in view of what I'm doing, here you go. It's not terribly complicated. Okay. Yep, there you are. And we're going to need to do some air compressor shenanigans. Yikes. Because I can pretty much guarantee you this thing is dirty. Whoa. A little more than I thought. Let's blow it off down here instead. Uh-oh. The whole room's dusty now. Yeah. Price we pay. Yeah, I think it needed servicing. What do you think? Okay, yeah. Alright, let's get a high quality paper towel. Don't use crappy paper towels for this. If you do, you're a moron. High quality paper towel, and we're just going to real quick, let me give you a little bit more zoom here. Real quick, let's turn this to free the CPU. See, it came up. Let me give you some autofocus power here. You can focus. It's okay, I promise. I will allow you to focus. Come on, autofocus. Really? You gonna do this to me now? Man, I love autofocus, don't you? Come on. Okay, well, if that's the way it's going to be, we'll go back to manual and we'll do it the hard way. Come on. Why are you not focusing on this? Oh, there we go. So it only does macro focus if I zoom in, is it? Or if I zoom out? That's dumb. I don't really like that very much. Anyway, bottom line, you can see right there we have an AMD, what is that? A4? A4? Oh my god, is it an A4? Are you kidding me? I thought it was an Intel chip. It's an A6 3400M. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to look for an upgrade chip for this. Hello, friendly McFrendersons, we're back. So I looked it up, and upgrading this A6, you can go up to an A8 3500 or 3520. There's also an A8 or an A6 3420, but the best upgrade is like 15% more speed. It's really not worth it for me to even dig around and look, because they probably do not have an A8 dash whatever. So we are just going to take this opportunity to clean the heatsink paste and put the existing chip back. Also, it is very helpful if when you put a chip back that you actually close the locking mechanism that holds the stupid thing in place. There we go. Okay. And we need to clean the heatsink itself as well. Get all the old thermal paste off. God almighty, 14-year-old thermal paste, man. It's gross. Pretty gross. I think that it said the chip was released in 2011, so this computer probably is a 2012 machine, roughly, and that makes me guess it's about 12 years old, not 14. Yes, guys, Windows 7 came out 16 years ago, and it is amazing. So we'll go ahead and put some heatsink paste, put a little P right there, and then just some dabs in the corners to fill them in, because they tend to not get filled in. In previous videos, I have demonstrated a technique where I tap around a lot. With this Noctua stuff, this is NT-H1, or yeah, I don't do that. Now, I still do it with Arctic Silver 5, but not with Noctua, because Arctic Silver is way thicker, so it's actually a real pain to spread yourself. So anyway, it doesn't matter. You learn, you grow. Now, normally what I will do is I don't follow the numbers, by the way. I'm actually a pretty bad boy. So I will tighten everything down a little, then all the way. Okay. In the past, I have removed the heatsink after putting it back to see if the distribution is good, but I am fairly confident in this technique now, so I don't really feel the need to do that anymore. So I'm just not going to do that. Now, I have to set this board aside because we still have not addressed the issue of these hinge mounts. They are pretty bad. I need this hinge. I would like to reinforce the mount while we're in here, and I also obviously need to just glue this other one straight back to the system. So let's go ahead and just take this loose and just see if there's any damage in here, because if I give this back to her, I want this thing to last. If I'm going to put all this work into this, it's going to be right. There we go. The other one's loose anyway. Let's just pop it all off. There we go. It's pushing pretty hard, but yeah. Okay. And this metal plate, I don't know how much more zoom I can really give you here, but that metal plate down there, which is a little hard to see, but it would probably help if I did the correct adjustment. There we go. And let's get this plate up. Alright, so under this plate right here, there's no evidence of damage on this side. If we push it, can we damage it? I don't think so. I'm guessing that this side's hinge is not as bad as the other. Let's just do a little testing. Yeah, it's not super tight. What about this one? Oh, that one. Oh, that one is super tight. Okay. So the problem is this hinge. This hinge is much tighter than that hinge, and that's why it ripped all the mounts out, because the tightness is so bad. Let's get this. Okay. We're going to need to do something about that hinge situation there. Normally what I do in a tight hinge scenario like this, and it might be hard to show it to you, but if you can grab this little nut right here It's really hard to see, isn't it? Yeah. Well, just bear with me here. If you can see that little nut right there, you can grab it and you can pull it toward you here to loosen it. And I think that should loosen this up just a bit. Yeah, now that's too loose. That just flops all over the place, right? There's got to be a happy medium. We don't want it to be so loose that it doesn't actually meaningfully contribute. So tighten it up a bit. That's still loose. Okay. Tighten up a bit more. And that's tight, but it's not... Oh, the other one's actually tighter than that. So let's give this a little bit more. Maybe the other one, just as a precaution, I might take the other one and crank it away just a tiny bit. Yeah, that's good. See, that's not great, but if we're gonna have to repair it, all right, let's see what happens here. If this is the only one holding it, will it hold it? Or will the screen just flop? The screen will flop. Okay. So it does have to be tighter than that. So let's give it just a bit more of a crank. Wait, I did it in the wrong direction. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Okay. That actually feels a little better until it gets right here. Yeah, well, that's normal snapping. Okay, so the test is we hold it and let's see, it does drop. It just drops. So that's the problem, is the hinges have to be strong enough to hold the screen up. Shit, that's not great. Okay. Yeah, okay. We've got just the right amount of tension now. Okay, let's get the other hinge to where we can lean it against the tripod here. Okay, now let's go ahead and reattach the left hinge that doesn't have a problem. One of the problems that I've actually had quite a few times with old, I'm talking really, really old, like 30-year, or not 30, but 20, 25-year-old laptops back in the day was the hinges would actually be too weak. Instead of being too strong, they would not be strong enough, and the screen would just flop backwards like a dead fish or something. It was really bizarre. You know, I actually kind of need this to be loosened up so that I can move this away enough to get epoxy in there. Okay, now what are we gonna do? Can I show you that clearly? I think I can. You'll have to look in the corner, but it is here. So let's mix up some plastic bonding epoxy. Let me check the time. Okay, I have messages. Okay. Get off of there. Okay. I've never used the JB Weld plastic bonding, so this will be new for me. Ooh, I might like this better. The Loctite was very thick, and I was not very happy with that. This is much thinner, so it may... Come on now. Where is the line? I know there's a line. Come on now. Where's the line? There you are. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I already like this, like immediately. So take a Q-tip or cotton swab if you want to be more generic and not use a brand name. Cut the end off, and now we have this. Let me get this back down. Okay. and we just need to mix this up. This stuff is way more runny, so it also is, it's easier to work with, it looks like, but it's trying to run off this paper. This, like I said, this was bought by my assistant. This is the first time I've ever used JB Weld plastic bonding, so I don't know how well this works, but I am already, one of the problems I had with Loctite was that the plastic bonding epoxy was a little too bonding. I don't know exactly how to explain it. It was very thick and very difficult to work with. This is thinner, so I'm not used to it. And you can't even see what I'm doing, but I'm putting it where the anchors went before they broke off. It's black, so it's very easy to see where things used to be. But like I said, it is a little bit runny, so that could potentially be an issue here. So I'm not sure how this is going to go, but let's see what happens. It really doesn't look that difficult overall, though. Okay. I'm still going to need something to hold it in place, I think. But, alright, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm tightening this up. I'm going to tighten this left hinge up so that it stays again, because the right hinge needs to come forward enough that this screen doesn't rip everything back out. Yeah, ideally the screen will actually hold this in place, but that's not realistic, so whatever. Okay. We have other mounts to repair, so what I think I will do is hold on a second. Oh, I don't have that. Okay. I need this to come off and not run all over the place. I need this over here. Okay. Do I have clamps? Where are my clamps? I've got to have clamps somewhere. Alright. I'll be right back. Okay. So how do you deal with this situation where you've got this hinge and it's wobbly all over and you need it to stay in place? Well, the solution is hang the screen so that the weight is forward and use a really big ass clamp. That was difficult. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if it's aligned, but you can look at the screw hole and tell if it is or isn't. Yeah, okay, we're good. Now, we still have other mounts that need repairing, which is why I moved this JB Weld mess over here. So there are a couple of them that broke loose. Let's see. One of them is obviously back here, this corner. We know that's broken. So how can I show you this? Going to be difficult to do that where the camera can see it and where it's at a convenient working distance, so bear with me. Yeah, it's not great, but here we go. So it goes here. I don't know how deep, but the way that it looks like it just sort of came up out of the socket here. No, that plastic definitely dissolved to some extent. Yeah, this is one of the more difficult parts. Is I don't know how far it goes, but based on its companion, did I really just do that? Yes, I did. It didn't touch anything, I don't think. At least nothing important. Just the palm rest, you know. Oh no, it didn't. Okay, so let's go back to this. So if we are autofocus. If we are looking at this, Alright, if we look at this, see how the anchor sits? Now let me flip it over. You can see the other side. See how the anchor is recessed? So we know that the anchor on this side used to stand up this tall and no longer is. So we know what we need to do is to make that anchor stand up like that again. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's grab this goop. It's already starting to thicken a bit. So I guess if I needed it thicker, I could have just waited a little bit. But I actually I prefer this thinner way. Here we go. Okay. So I don't know how well this is going to work on camera, but we're going to rebuild the plastic that went around this using this epoxy. So just sort of run it around the edges a bit, like that. Try not to get it on top, because we're rebuilding the plastic from the sides. But you just sort of roll the Q-tip or scrape it, but definitely not whatever just happened there. I got it on the top. Well, the exact thing I told you not to do, I did it. So I'm gonna take the cotton end and try to clean it. There we go. And we had another one that ripped right out. I don't immediately see it. There it is. Okay. Alright. There's another one here. Let's take that anchor. We can assume that it is the same height as the others over here. And we'll put the small end in the hole. Okay. It does sit properly. So let's get some more JB Weld here and rebuild it. It is not as well supported, unfortunately, so this might be a bit more dicey. I can see it moving in the hole. That's not good. What it just did right there is definitely not good. Frankly, the way that this JB Weld stuff is going, if this repair holds up, I will probably switch to it from the Loctite, because the Loctite was just way too difficult to work with. I think I worked with it because that's what I started working with at some point, and I just never changed. So I see another busted one down here. Let's check that out. That looks particularly nasty. So there's a fused piece of plastic here. There's a bunch of plastic welds all over, and then I see this one's trashed. Like, it's really trashed. It came out. Okay. It came out, and I don't know how I'm going to rebuild that, but it's going to be real hard for you to see it too. The bottom line is this ring came out from under this plastic flap, so I'm not sure how I'm going to get that to hold. It may not be worth the trouble to try, but we're going to try anyway, because the worst that can happen is it just doesn't work out. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to fill the hole, and I have to kind of put it in from the side, and I know you can't see, but I don't really know what else to do. This one's dicey, really, really dicey. I may not be able to get it to go in the hole at all. I don't know yet. This may be a job for which some tweezers would be needed, but I actually think it may have just gone where it needs to go. So here's what I'm going to do. For this one, because of where it is, I'm going to put the Q-tip there to hold it. Let me give you a little zoom. And I'm going to get a screw to align it a little better, because it's actually too far in now. It kind of needs a little help. And a screw through the hole it's meant to go through will help me align it better. So we'll do that, and then we'll apply more of the black stuff here. Yeah, I don't like that the screw has to be there, but there's not much else I can do. I mean, yeah. So we apply that, and then we get the screw like that. Get the screw aligned so that when it cures, we can hopefully pull the screw back out. I don't think there are any more brass anchors, but we do have this to repair. This one screw that had the plastic ring around it. That doesn't go to this plastic. That goes to the base plastic. So let's see what happens. Okay. So let's move this. Bring this back. There was a ring, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, unfortunately, this goes right where that clamp is located. So I am not sure if I can do this repair. Yeah, it goes right there, and the clamp is right there, and the hinge is right over it. So I am not sure that I can fix this to where it will do what I expect. So that is an obvious mistake on my part. But the JB Weld stuff should not have cured yet. So let's get back in there with it, and let's do a little bit more work. You may not be able to see this. I'm sorry, because I have a limited work area here. I'll do my best, but we need more of this JB Weld in that corner. It is thickening very quickly, so this is actually not going very well at all. Because I made this mistake, this is going to be very difficult. So I need it to go around this rim here, but good luck actually getting it to stick. So there's that. And this has to be loosened again because it's still not where I need it to be over here. So let's open it up so we can get some, oops, well, that's unfortunate, but whatever. I want as much room as I can get without popping the screw out. So there we go. That's probably as good as it gets. I have no idea where I dropped that ring a second ago. Oh, but it's right over here. Okay. I don't know what to do to get this in place. This is tough. This is very tough. So I've got some pliers here. I've got some like curved nose pliers here. And if I'm really lucky, God, you can't even see that, can you? Because my stupid big hand is in the way. But if I'm really lucky, these curved nose pliers will let me put this where this needs to be. And hopefully, yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in that, but hopefully that will fuse that together there. Oh, this is getting unworkable. It's starting to set. Although now I can probably get a better fix on the actual mounts. So there's that, I suppose. But damn, this is rough. This is really rough. Yeah. This is not ideal at all, but I can use these pliers to get it positioned back where it belongs again. So it will actually set at least where it needs to be. Okay. 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 Give me this clamp again. This whole situation is far from ideal. That's all I can really say about it, is none of this is working very well. No. That let go, that one hinge isn't going to hold it because I loosened it so it wouldn't rip things, and now, yeah. Okay, let's just do this. Shh, be quiet. Messaging app. Silence brand. Messaging brand. Is there something I can put through this hole? Maybe one of those plastic pieces that fell out earlier that I swept aside, dismissing as irrelevant? Perhaps they'll fit in the hole and keep it aligned. I don't know. Let's try it though. I can't say that was the best idea I've had, but yeah, no, that doesn't fit. It would be very nice if there was a way to get these plastic pieces to stay put. I don't think there is. And I loosened this, which doesn't help. So I really hate these hinge mount repairs because of this. This is the main thing that bothers me, is it can be really dicey to get things to stay where they belong because there's so much in the way of moving parts and counterweighting it with the screen like this. And yeah, I don't have a longer clamp either, which compounds the problem significantly. Okay. I do, however, have a weaker clamp, which may actually be better in this situation. Something that doesn't bite quite so hard may also not cause quite so much trouble. I don't know where my red C-clamp is right now, so except it's literally right in front of me over here. How far in will that go? It'll go in pretty far. I may use this red C-clamp instead. I don't know yet. Oh, you can't see anything I'm doing, can you? Great. Great, great, great. So I've got this spring clamp, but I think instead of these two spring clamps, I think what I'm going to do is switch it out for this red C-clamp, because a red C-clamp will only put the tension where I want it, and can't spin it there. But it doesn't really go in far enough, does it? No, it doesn't. So that's not happening. So back to the spring clamp. Use the small spring clamp, which holds it without being too intrusive. Okay. So this, at this point, just needs to set a little longer. This stuff's already really chunky. I'll be back. This camera only has 21 minutes of storage left, so I'm going to try to very quickly get everything put back together and working. So this will almost be a sort of speed run rather than any kind of meaningful repair guide. But as usual, reassembly is often just the reverse of disassembly, so it's not like it's that big of a deal in the first place. Alright. Come on. Use the tripod to lean on, and that's still coming apart. Great. It makes me so happy that garbage is still coming apart. Okay. So let's get our board back. Everything ties back to the motherboard anyway. So let's go ahead and, you know what? I hate this tape. It's old. It's disintegrating. Let's remove it. Alright, this cable has to be above it when it goes back in. This cable also has to be above it. Alright, goes back. Yeah, not going to be perfect, but I have to hook that up through the bottom, I think. So let's make sure it falls into line. You have a number of ports here that aren't going, so wiggle it as needed until the ports do in fact go back where they belong. Let's see. I have a lot of screws here and I don't remember exactly where all of them go, but I'm pretty sure these thin ones here, there are 5 of these, if not 6, that go to the keyboard. So had I been more organized, this might not have been an issue. So that's a pretty thin screw right there. I'm betting that's a Wi-Fi screw. Okay, so we had 2 screws that go here. but I do not remember exactly which ones go where. A bit of a nuisance, but we will work it out. I do actually have 2 of these, so I have to assume these shorter screws do go here, because there's 2 of them here and here. Okay. We know this goes here. We know this flip lock here. Let me give you a little bit more. Goes here. Okay. Good. This thing is still setting, which is a bit of a pain. I'm hoping that if I put it all back together before everything actually sets. This is not straight. Hold on just a second. This needs to be more straight than it is. Okay. Alright, put this cable back. It's sort of a race against time at this point, so I'm not super concerned with most of this. I just need to get it all hooked back up about as quickly as I can. So, display cable here. Let's go ahead and put that back. I kind of miss when they were this big, because the newer cables are these flat things that are kind of difficult to get in and out. Usually they're also very cramped. They're packed in with a bunch of other nonsense. So there we go. There's our display cable. It goes down there. Let's just go ahead and hook the power button board up so that we can make sure it works. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, it's just a flip lock, see? So, there we go. Okay. I really want to get this top case on as quickly as possible. So, let's see. Hopefully, I didn't forget anything that goes here. This is the touchpad connector. This is the keyboard connector. This is the speaker connector. I don't think I've forgotten anything that goes here. Now, one of the things I repaired is the one that goes there, and one of them is the hinge mount bit there. Those are the ones that I actually want to get set, because they will sort of hold everything else together for me. So let's get this top plate at least down. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does need to at least go down, and I'm having a problem already. So what is going on there? Why is that like that? Oh, guess what? Guess what? Genius man over here forgot to take the screw out that was used to put that anchor into alignment. I can still actually feel, okay, the goo made it through. Okay, great. And that rhymed, which only makes it more insulting. So the epoxy got on this screw, and I really need it to not be on the screw. Okay. So the bad news is that screw may have a hard time coming back out if I put it back in the computer. The good news is that screw may not come back out, therefore I don't have to worry. Uh-oh, I missed a hinge mount, or a front bit here that was busted. There is an anchor that is not attached right here, this front corner. Not attached. It is quite broken, and I threw the stuff away. This stuff is not usable anymore. So that one's just going to have to go. It's just going to have to be unconnected or whatever. It's not that important anyway. I will put it, hopefully, at least where a screw can catch it. And we'll put it back as best as we can, but right now we just can't worry about it. So we won't worry about it. Okay. Alright, that corner is no longer being held up. Okay. Okay, so all the same screws go right here in the middle. And the reason I'm going to go ahead and put them in now, instead of worrying about later, is if I go ahead and get these center screws in, it holds everything together more, so that when I go and eventually put these hinge screws in, hopefully it won't break anything apart. Because that hinge is still not mounted properly. It is still wrong. But the more screws that are in that are right before I go and get that final one put together, the better. See, everything is setting pretty hard right now, but it is still flexible, and that's the important part. It is still flexible. So if I get other things aligned properly, first of all, getting the top plate and the bottom plate squished together more inherently makes that hinge area squish together more, which means it won't be doing that it's doing right now. Yeah. So let's see what we can do. Alright, put one here. These, fortunately, are not broken. These mounts were never broken. This is not wanting to go back. What the crap? Go back. Jesus. Just go back. Oh my God. Why? Why is it so difficult? Why must any of this be this difficult? Okay. Go back. Okay. That one is firm. This next one beside it should probably also be nice and firm. And the linchpin really is this one over here that holds it all together. But remember, I had to repair this one, so it's possible that me twisting this too much will actually break it. I need it to catch. I need it to go through. Okay, it did grab the screw. Doesn't mean it's working, but it did at least grab the screw. Yeah, it's not working. I don't see it working. Okay. Okay, well, so I don't know if that hinge screw is going to work or not to hold everything together, but I'm going to go ahead and get all of these supporting structures held down as best as I can. Uh-oh, I got some epoxy on my screwdriver. That's not great. Hang on. One of the good things about the Loctite stuff was that it was yellow, so you could definitely see it on things. This JB Weld is black, so it looks like dirt or whatever. It's not necessarily as easy to spot. So I think that one is probably not going through, and that's okay. If it's not going to go through, it's not going to go through. So be it. Let's get the other hinge established, and now we should at least be able to pull the computer open and closed without everything disintegrating. Okay. There are a lot of screws up the sides of these machines, so here we go. Okay. Yeah, now we should at least be able to open and close it, which means we can probably apply a clamp over here with a much better result, to make sure that hinge sets in the appropriate way. There we go. And that whole corner, let's see if there's a seam. There does not appear to be a seam, so that whole corner should be okay now. I'm going to try one more time to screw it down, but I don't think it's going to work. Not in any meaningful way. Nah, we'll just leave it in there, let it do its thing. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You're going to have a pretty hard time watching me do this because I have to do it with the computer kind of cocked up a bit, unfortunately. But we're going to go ahead. There we go. Go ahead and get as many of these screws in as we can. And I mean, frankly, I don't have a lot more time to record, so the bottom line is that's how you get this whole computer, a satellite L755D, fully disassembled and reassembled. And we did some repairs that a brittle plastic 12 or whatever year old laptop would need along the way. So I hope that this has been helpful, but as of right now, I actually need to get going. I have a house call to do, and this epoxy needs to set before I can realistically do much else. I need to see that that hinge works without a clamp on it. So for now, other than putting screws in, there really isn't a lot I can do. Thanks for hanging out. Hope this has helped. Have a wonderful day, and be sure to check out some of my other fun videos. There's lots of stuff that's not just computer repair. And if this has helped you, feel free to drop me some cash at jodybruchon.com. Take care. Just for the sake of clarity, so that you can see the finishing touches, we've got the touchpad cable. Make sure all of these wires here are done. There will be, obviously, the keyboard. I've already put the SSD in. That was just one screw, really. Keyboard needs to go right there. And what else you got here? There really isn't anything else. We already put the display cable. The keyboard strip that goes across the top, keep in mind there's the screw here that goes through here. So you put the keyboard in, put the 4 screws down for that, then this goes over it. But there's really not much else. I have to go, unfortunately. The customer's going to be here any minute to pick this up. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful.